Hi crafters, Raquel here with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm coming along with my third project made with a lifetime of adventure. This is the latest kit from Tonic Studios, and the kit came with a collection of papers that were in nice teal and dark blues, very ocean themed of course. And I just thought that I would come along and offer yet another way that you can use your kit. And this is going to be a tutorial video sharing with you how you can make this particular little mini album. So the foundation of this book and a lot of what is inside was created using the kit, including the little tags here that you see on the side. What I did was that I supplemented it by using the Shabby Chic clutch bag die set. So if you have dies in your stash that you love to use, you can absolutely combine them. So to begin, I made some flowers using Tonic Studios dies, and I have gone ahead and decorated the front there. I've also used different colors of Nuvo mousse, and I'll list of course the details down below, so if you want to pick up anything that you see, then you can go ahead and do so. Here on the top you see the little strap, so of course that was using that purse die, and that was super easy to make. All I did was change the direction of the paper from this, which is how I used it the first time, to this, and now it folds on the top, opens like so. There you see the inside of the top of the book, and once you open it, you have this here, which is a little pocket that's also made with the kit. And using that kit, I also made a tiny little notebook here that I topped off with another flower to learn how to use your dies to make this sort of thing. You can watch my first tutorial, and the same way that I made the pages, you can make a little notebook. All you have to do is also pierce the little papers that you can then place inside and then thread through the ribbon the same way you would do any of the other pages. So that'll fit nicely here. And I've also used Nuvo mousse to decorate some of the little photo mats that you see here. The tab came with the kit, and then that little tuck spot that I created here that you see glistening there, I created using that Shabby Chic clutch bag. All I did was use one of the little decorative panels, which you can use any die set that you have that has a little panel, and then if the shape fits on your page, you can place it by only adhering one side, and there you go. You can have a little tuck spot to decorate a page. And all I did was repeat that throughout, so it's quite simple, as you see here. Very easy to place a picture or place a note, a recipe, anything like that. So all the way in the back here, I've also used the die set, and I tripled the pieces of paper here, and that way I have 3 little pockets that I can use in my layer here using the same die set. All I did was use Nuvo mousse on a piece of card, back that up with gold paper, and then I added a little bow from the Shabby Chic handbag die set. And then to add more pictures, I wanted to be able to fit as many as possible because this is a mini album. Then I created this page style so that I can fit a total of 14 pictures in this book. And in here, there's also a little belly band that you can create. All I did was use the die set that creates the purse, and I threaded a piece of seam binding through there. I glued it using red light adhesive, and then that gave me that little belly band there that you can stick little pieces of ephemera in. And then of course this folds in accordion style, so they all meet like this in the center. Plenty of room on both sides, and it sits beautifully on a desk. So I think it's a beautiful presentation. If you have a gift to make, then I invite you to watch. To begin making this mini album, go ahead and cut out 2 pieces of heavy cardstock from the largest die in the kit, as well as 4 decorative layers. And as you see here, some of the decorative panels that you can definitely color using Nuvo mousse if you wish to. Back them up with gold cardstock, and then cut out matting layers using the kit, as well as matting layers that you can use to decorate what will be the accordion fold portion of this album. Now, to give you an idea of the size of this, it does measure 5 by 8.5. You're going to need 4 panels of this size, and please disregard what I wrote. You want to score it at 1/2 inch and 4.5 inches. You'll need 4 of those, and using the foundation piece that you will have cut out using the largest die. Go ahead and cut out the top portion there. You're going to be adding that to a panel that measures the same width. However, it is also 1.5 inches wide. This is going to allow you to add it to that bottom portion and increase the height of that page, if you will, or that piece of paper. But let's go ahead and use that rectangular portion first. Let's fold it over. So you have that tab that measures at least 1/4 inch, but you need the top portion of what will be your purse. That top portion will have some score lines because you can definitely cut it using the largest die in the set. Just aim the paper toward kind of the center where you see all the little score lines, and that's going to make it a lot easier. Now I did reinforce the little fold lines here just to ensure that I had the 1/4 tab on one end and then the 1/4 tab on the other, just for reference there. Now you can fold that over. So you have your 1/4 fold. That's going to face the top. And now you're going to start putting this together. And make sure that you use strong adhesive. I am using the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It is my favorite because it lends a nice strong grip, but it also gives you a moment or two to shift your paper around should you need to do that. So here I am adding the second part of this, and it lines up very easily, of course, because that's the benefit of using the dies. But you see how easily I was able to put that together. Now for the second part of this, just go ahead and use the second panel that you had cut out using the largest die set, and go ahead and fold this so that you have also 1.5 inch portion on the bottom, and these two are going to meet together now, because where you fold it, you're going to add the top portion, just overlapping, and what would have been that decorative portion is now going to be on the inside of the mini album, and that little corner had a little bit of a bend in it, but now you see how you can close that. I'm adding magnets to create the closure of this mini album. It's going to make it a lot easier, and what I try to focus on is to make sure that they're not too close to the edge of the page. So I do eyeball it, but you can definitely use a little pencil to help yourself out in the location of these, because it is a shaped top to a mini album. So just be mindful of that. You don't want those magnets too close to the edge, but I did take advantage of double-sided adhesive to help me out there. And now that those little magnets are placed on what's going to be the front of my little purse, I'll remove the backing, and then that's going to be hidden by the decorative panel that I've cut down. And I did cut away all the way around the edge, so that it would reveal a little bit of that white border, because this die set does have a really beautiful stitching motif, and I wanted to take advantage of that. Now, because I cut down the papers using the same dies, then I don't really have to think too hard to just cut those papers apart and be able to use them as my matting layers. Now we'll come back to this part, but first let's go ahead and look at that accordion fold portion. I did remove 1/4 inch off of 2 of those. Those are going to be the ones that are going to glue onto the base of my book. But first I'm going to overlap one of them with the second piece of paper that still has that 1/2 inch tab. So using that 1/2 inch tab, I adhered it with the one that I had cut down, and that's going to create my accordion. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch tab, adhere it onto the purse, and this is going to face the front of the purse, but of course I'm going to burnish that and then add the second one facing the back of the purse. So again, this is using the ones that I cut down to the 1/4 inch tab, but to make it into the accordion, I just simply add the second one overlapping the first, add my glue onto that 1/2 inch tab, and that's essentially just extending that same piece of paper. And because of the fold line, then of course it becomes an accordion fold. So I hope that's self-explanatory, but now you see how my pages can open, and now I can continue decorating this book. Of course, if this was a little too fast for you, you can slow down the video using the little cog on the upper right hand side of the video on YouTube. So here I'm using the same panels that I had cut out using the largest die in the set, and what I'm doing is overlapping 3 pieces. As you can see, I have staggered them and only added adhesive on the outermost edge. Once I stagger these together, or layer these together, I create a pocket that's a little bit taller and also has 3 little openings. So now I'm adding adhesive on the bottom and the 2 sides. This is going to attach to the back of the mini album that I've already matted with a really pretty striped paper, and it's going to create the cutest little tuck spots there that I can later add tags to or pictures. Now this matting layer was created using yet another layer of dies from the kit. I did cut it out in gold and then matted it in the pink. And now I'm going to decorate the outer portion of this book by adding layers that I did cut out using the largest die again. And I did decide to add some beautiful seam binding to this portion here. I've placed double-sided adhesive on the back first, and as you can see there, I measure out the portion of seam binding that I need, and that little panel was colored using both sprays and Nuvo mousse from Tonic Studios, and let me tell you, the shine payoff is so beautiful. If you haven't played with the Nuvo products yet from Tonic, it is well worth it. So here I'm going to cover up those not so pretty magnets, and all I have to do is layer that, and I know it's going to fit because I use the same dies. So I top that off with the layering panel, and for the little photo mats, I did take some Nuvo mousse, and I wanted to make sure that I had some texture here, and I have this little stencil that's from an older kit. I wanted to make use of it, and so I did add some of that mousse to one of them, and I was so happy with how that looks. And using what was left over on my spatula, I decided to mix it with one of the drops that has a very similar color, but it has a different finish to it. It's a little bit more ethereal. So I'm going to link these products down below, by the way, in case you're interested in the colors and the names and all of that. That way you can find them more easily. But it did give it 2 different finishes, and I don't know if it's visible, but one of them has a little bit more of a pearlescent finish than the other. But I was so happy with the results, and there's just a quick snapshot of what those look like, but again, I'll list them below. And now you see how I matted my layers. Now those little matting layers you're going to cut depending on what you like. Some people like a 1/16 of an inch border, others like a 1/4 inch, so that's really up to you. But what you need to know is that the papers are 5 inches wide by, I think it's 4 inches tall, if I'm not mistaken, or 4.5. Now these little pieces here are from the Shabby Chic handbag. I did cut them out in gold and then did some inlay, and I wanted to make it decorative and shiny and pretty, but it is just to add photo mats into this book or little journaling mats. So I just repeated that, I think a total of 4 times. And what I want to point out here is that if you're going to use these types of layers in this type of book, because there's so many pages in such a tiny space, just be mindful of how close you put them to the edge. I did put mine right at the border, but just bear in mind that you might not be able to add a lot of bulk to this book because of the size of the pages and because of the how close these are to the fold. So I hope that makes sense, but I just wanted to let you know that whichever you decide to use to decorate here, You might want to make sure that it's not too bulky or 3D-ish, if that's a word. Um, but these fit really nicely, and I'm super happy with the results because I was able to add a bit of shine, which I love to add to my projects, but subtle enough that it's not too much. And as you can see there, I know that the mats are going to fit because, again, I've used all of the same die collection. And there's the little notebook, of course, that fits in the little pocket. That pocket was also created using the same die set. And what I do is I check the sides to make sure that it's not too bulky. But moving on to the little straps here, what I did was that I cut them out of gold cardstock. That's also from Tonic Studios. And using the red line adhesive, I measured about half an inch in and then placed them right on that portion that has the score lines. I've also used the little tags included in the set, and to complete the purse portion or the handle portion, I again used that double-sided tape. I measured it to make sure that it fit the little straps perfectly, and this allowed me to extend that so that it would fit the top part of this purse. And I just gathered those two and kind of eyeballed where I wanted this to meet, and that's exactly where I glued it. And then I used little strips that were also decorated with Nuvo mousse, and I just thought it would look really pretty to finish this off with that pearlescent paper that's both in a very light lavender and pink. And here's yet another little piece of gold that came along with one of the little tabs that you can use from the set. Now, I did have some charms that were bee charms in my stash, so I decided to add that as well. And then all of those little flowers I did make by hand using Tonic Studios dies. I will post that video separately because if not, this video would have been quite long. But I was so happy with how those turned out, and my dear friends sent me some seam binding, so of course it was pink, it matched my project, and I made a double bow to add to the front of this mini album, and it fit perfectly the entire theme. It gave it some softness, so why not just add that as well? I thought it was so beautiful. So be sure to take advantage of these kits. I wanted to let you know very quickly that it is a no commitment type of subscription. So if there's one that you don't like, you can always skip it. But I think they are a huge value. They're well worth it. As you can see, this is my third mini album using this kit, and they have come together so very easily, and each one has been different from the other. So be sure to let me know in the comments if you're going to be taking advantage of this as well. And if you'd like, come back and I will share with you how I made the beautiful flowers that I've used on this mini album as well. I thank you so much for watching, and if you want to support my channel, I invite you to use my links. Hope to see you in my next video.